All right. So, what I'm going to do really quick is show you guys how to make a lizard noose. Uh, what I want you to notice here is that I'm using it's a little expandable fishing rod. It's a really cheap piece of junk fishing rod. I would never take this fishing, but it makes a really nice little pocket lizard noose that can collapse. And so I'm going to put my noose right there on the end ferrule. I guess that would be. No, it's not a ferrule. A little loop right there. And so what I'm going to use is waxed. It's backwards. I'm going to use waxed dental floss. The reason that I use waxed dental floss is because the wax makes the noose a little bit stiff and holds the loop open so that I can get the lizard's head in it. Now, there's a number of other things that you could do. I have in the past used jeweler's wire. The jeweler's wire is really great for holding things up. It's a little bit harder on the lizard's necks. Um, I was using jeweler's wire on some really large lizards that I had to pull out of crevices, and so that's probably why I used that. I have also used in the past, it's called spider wire, and it's a really nice braided fishing line. It's like braided nylon or something like that. It's very, very nice. That's generally what I prefer to use because it looks a little neater, it holds open a little bit more, but it's also pretty expensive. And so for just messing around with the lizard noose, your waxed dental floss is pretty nice. So I'm going to pull out a little bit of dental floss here, and on my very end loop, I'm going to tie it. I'm going to tie it to the very end loop there. And so let's see here. I'm going to push it through, thread the needle, and then I just tie. Well, it's essentially it ends up being a granny knot. Now, when you guys make your loops, it's going to be a little bit more important that the knot stays together, but when I'm tying it onto the fishing pole here, I just pile up a whole bunch of these overhand granny style knots. Square knot would be nicer, but I don't really have any way of knowing if my square knot is coming together right. And that little jingle left over right over left never worked for me. I don't know why. I'm just I don't. Anyway, so I pile up a few of those. Now I've got this little thing hanging off to the side. I'm going to go ahead and clip that off. And the reason that I want to do that is because I don't want to be distracted, and I don't want the lizard to be distracted by a bunch of little loops, little strings hanging off. And so now my loop, I want my noose to hang down about this far. And so if I want my noose to hang down this far, then I'm going to take that and I'm going to double it because and that's about the length that I want, right? Because then, and the reason for this is kind of important. When you make your loop, you're going to make a slip knot. So I'm gonna tie a loop and then I'm gonna tie a slip knot in that loop. Let me explain. Like a yo-yo string. So I'm going to start probably back here. And check and make sure that my video is doing well. I make my loop right there, right? And then I take this, I take that double, I bring it all the way around, make a third loop, bring this loop in, like so. You guys probably can't see this too well. But essentially what I'm doing, so right here, let's see, let me tie that up a little bit tight-ish. So this is essentially what I've got right there. You can see that I've made an overhand knot, and that overhand knot then is going to have the loop. Now, like I said though, I need to have my loop I need to be able to make a nice wide slip knot, and so I'm going to pull this tight as close as I can to the end. And I didn't do such a great job, but that's all right. So there it is. There is my loop right here. So you can see, and you can see how that holds open nicely. Now I've got this extra slack back here, right here. I'm going to go ahead and clip that off because I don't want all of this nonsense hanging around get in my way. So I clip that off, and now I've got a loop. This is like that. Now this is not a slip knot. That's the problem. And so in order to make my slip knot, in order to make my actual noose, I'm going to take this loop that is a static loop that holds its shape. This particular loop right here is not going to change shape. It's not going to tighten because of the way that I tie the knot. I take this and pull it through my first loop. Oh my gosh, it is kind of a pain in the neck. You have to redo this every time. There we go. So, and right here, that right there is my lizard noose. I don't know if you guys can see that. Here, I'll pull that down, get a little contrast. That is the noose. And so what I will do now is I kind of open this noose up. I kind of hold it open like that. And here's my little lizard. You know, he's cruising around. I'll bring that very carefully over the lizard's head, just like that. And then I tighten up and I've caught him. I'm actually going to go try this out right now in our little garden area. Look at some lizards, but that's how you make a lizard noose. Now you can use, you know, a fishing line. You can use a long stick. You're going to want it to be relatively straight, kind of a straight stick. And so if you have a dowel, that makes it a little bit easier. If you've got a wire hanger makes kind of a nice little, you unclip that or you untwist the wire hanger, and then you've got a nice rigid pole that sort of extends out. Let's see, what else have I used before? I have used tree branches. Tree branches are nice. A nice straight willow. So if you can go down to City Creek over by the water treatment plant, there's a nice long willow about, I don't know, about 4 to 6 feet long. That would make it really nice. And so then you'll tie your dental floss on the end of that, and then make your loop from there. Anyway, this has the potential to be a lot of fun, especially if you guys decide that you get into this. But I am going to go catch a lizard and show you in just a minute. All right, so I caught my lizard. Took me a little bit longer than I thought, and right now we need a much bigger, much longer pole. I would suggest right now I think I've got about 8 feet on mine. I took my stupid little fishing rod and I added a stick to it. So you might not you might not have something quite that big available to you, and if not, then that's fine. It's really a lot of fun though if you can swing it. So here's our lizard. You can see, well, and I'll hang him here in just a minute, but you can see how the loop is right around his neck. Most lizards don't even notice the loop coming at them. If they do notice it, they think it's a fly and they'll start snapping at it and trying to eat it. And so, but you hold that noose over, you catch him. You know, you'll tighten that noose over his neck, and then you just fish him up. And so sometimes it takes a couple tries. It took me a couple tries to get this guy, but eventually they'll just hang just like that. Now, you don't want to let him hang for too long. This guy, well, he's playing a little bit dead. The noose is actually not as tight as you might think. Yeah, he's just fine. But When you catch your lizards, you want to hold them by their leg generally. And so I will often take them by their back leg and just hold them like that. And that way he can't get away. A lot of times the front leg is a good one too. This particular lizard is an ornate tree lizard, and he's a good looking specimen. And so when you catch these guys, I just want you to look at them, make note of what they look like, maybe take a picture, ventral and dorsal, and we'll identify these guys, and it'll be good. Remember, don't touch them, don't grab them by their tails because they will drop their tails. But I'm going to go ahead and let this guy go outside. Anyway, a lot of fun if you can swing it. Oh, yeah, I guess this is still going. I'm just going to take this noose off of him right now. Now I'm going to hold on to his back leg pretty tightly because I'm inside. I don't want him getting loose in here. So anyway, that's it. There he is. Nice looking little ornate tree lizard.